met her. And that's how now I come to the Magufuli family, know them, and that time Magufuli was still a minister. I visited their home in Dar es Salaam, went there, had dinner in the house, but we were getting into the family because our church has a member who is a minister's wife, Mama Janet Magufuli. In 2015, when Dr. Magufuli was nominated by CCM to hold their flag to take on Edward Lowassa, I got excited because they had nominated a person I actually knew, and the person whose wife was actually my friend. I remember sending a text to Mama saying, we'll pray for you, and I couldn't even just imagine that, oh, what does it mean? Having seen somebody from nowhere, and now they are racing up there to actually become a president of a country. So that was my interaction. When Dr. Magufuli visited Uganda in 2017, when they were launching the pipeline in Ruzinga, what's the place called at the border? In Mutukula. In Mutukula. There was a press conference at Set Lodge in Masaka. I had an opportunity to ask Dr. Magufuli a question which he loved so much, and I spoke to him in Kiswahili and of course in English. And we were friends in a way. I personally loved Magufuli. I knew him, and I had met him before. When you talk about the life of Dr. Magufuli, for maybe those who are actually watching us here, is we did not so many people knew about Magufuli until 2015 when he became the first president of Tanzania, the United Republic of Tanzania. But Magufuli starts, I think, his political career sometime in 1995. In 1995, when he contested and became member of parliament for Chato, where he comes from, he comes to parliament, and when he gets to parliament, in that first year, as a member of parliament, he was appointed a deputy minister. Which could
be like Minister of State here.
Exactly. So he was appointed as a deputy minister for works and transport. So he serves in that capacity for that period until he was again appointed as from that, he actually moved on to another ministry called the Ministry of Lands and Human Settlement. So he served there before serving subsequent now in the different governments from the government of Benjamin Mkapa, moving on to President Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete. He moves on and he actually becomes the minister again now for fisheries. He gets into that department before again coming back to the Ministry of Works, where he was before being elected president. Now you will notice that in Tanzania, normally they look at their succession according to CCM. To them, succession is basically looked in about 4 dockets. If you are the vice president or the prime minister or the Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
Yes, you are
I'm so familiar with foreign affairs.
Exactly.
Actually, most countries, foreign affairs, I think because of the exposure, you're so much in line of leadership. Foreign affairs, and to some maybe city governor of the main city.
Exactly, but you see, but foreign affairs is one of those. One of those. Of course, deputy president, they're looking at you as the next president after this president. Then the prime minister, of course, you are the lead of government business and stuff like that. So you know how the government works, operates, and all the things. And of course, you sit at the implementation unit of the government. Then, of course, the foreign affairs minister is you study, diplomacy, protocol, and of course the foreign policy, which is very key and very pivotal. Now, Dr. Magufuli, having not been in any of these positions, was not thought about anyhow or anywhere to actually be in queue for that particular. Now, you will notice that people thought that after President Mrisho Kikwete, it would actually be Edward Lowassa. Now, Edward Lowassa was Secretary General of their party. And the party, Chama cha Baba in Tanzania, which is CCM, is actually very strong. That it domines, it runs government, it does many of these things. So when there was a fallout between Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete and Edward Lowassa, then of course there was that vacuum. There was that vacuum and of course that power struggle. Now remember, a few years ago, the party had started splitting. The party started splitting, and that's how it forms this other party called the Chadema. Now, Chadema is actually a breakaway, like you see FDC, because when you look into FDC and how it started from powerful reform agenda to now the FDC, you notice that many of the people who are in this structure called the NRM are the ones actually who formed this other opposition wing called the Forum for Democratic Change. Now that is the story of Chadema. So
creating way for John
exactly.
Pombe Magufuli.
So there were three contestants. There were three contestants, and of course, Dr. Magufuli got the vote and the nomination, secured the nomination, and the party also nominated this other lady, Dr. Samia Suluhu. Now, Dr. Suluhu Samia she was, I think, the only woman, she was the only cabinet woman, she was the only female in cabinet during Mrisho Kikwete's time. Because it was during the time of Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete that there was a lot of woman emancipation at that time, when they could actually see women coming on, and that's how Mama Samia Suluhu comes on, because she was also a member of parliament for Zanzibar. So she comes and she became a state minister for union affairs. So that's why I'm actually very sure that she knows this country called Tanzania and its dynamics.
And also, Jagenda, for clarification, many people have referred to her as the first president in East Africa, first female president in East Africa. But I was checking through my books of history, and I think Burundi in 1993 had the first female president.
Yes, Burundi in 1993, their prime minister Sylvie Kinigi. Sylvie Kinigi actually was an acting president for 100 days. She was an acting president for 100 days, which was about 3 months and 9 days, precisely, you could say, or 14 weeks. Sylvia Kinigi, actually, at the time she was a prime minister, at the same time she also acted as a president. She acted as a president before, I think, Cyprian came on, I think, yeah, by that time. So when people actually talk about now Dr. Samia Suluhu being the first woman president in the region, they forget history. That in 1993, actually, Sylvie became acting president of Burundi from the 27th of October to the 5th of February, the following year, 1994. And at that same time, because she had just been appointed prime minister in July 1993, and she concurrently or together ran as prime minister and also acting president. So if you want to talk about presidents, then she was actually the first president on the continent, actually on the continent, before Banda, before Joyce Banda in Malawi, and before the lady in Liberia, before Salif Johnson, and now before Dr. Samia Suluhu. So thank you very much for remembering that, because actually people don't seem to have remembered this, but it so happened. So President Magufuli's life, yes, he comes to the forefront. President Mrisho Kikwete campaigned a lot and vigorously for Dr. Magufuli, because Dr. Magufuli, yes, was known amongst Tanzanians, one, as a member of the CCM. They knew him, his life as a former teacher and stuff like that. And now he had gained the name of the bulldozer. Tinga Tinga. He gained that name of a bulldozer because of what he was doing actually in infrastructure.
Very, very active. Actually, very, very active when you talk about
as a Minister of Works.
In terms of when he was the Minister of Works. This issue of fighting corruption did not just begin when he was appointed, or I mean when he was elected president. Right from all the ministries he worked through, most so when he was in transport there, we saw him fight corruption. He was so much hands-on, people could not expect a minister on a bulldozer or tinga, you call it tinga wetiye, doing the work himself. They had never seen it in the first place. So that's where he gets the name, so much Tanzania's bulldozer, for being hands-on for the fight against corruption. And even when he sprang up to these other levels, he had set pace already. That is a no-nonsense person. It wasn't told that the Chama cha Mapinduzi had lost track. It had been taken so much on corruption scandals. So they just need someone to come. That was his character. It wasn't because he was shooting in a gap of saying revive the name of Chama cha Mapinduzi. But previously, that was his character.
Now, I remember very well when they were campaigning for him. Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete made a statement a few days to elections in 2015, and he said, "Ibao tutafunga," meaning we'll have to score this goal by hook or crook. Now, when you look into the political setting, many and most people actually thought that Edward Lowassa, having been Prime Minister, Secretary General of the Vanguard political party, they looked at him as more Vanguard than Dr. Magufuli. But of course, the party had actually decided on Dr. Magufuli to come and be there. So when Dr. Magufuli becomes president, when he had just been sworn in as president in 2015, he took oath of office and he said, I have two programs that I want to handle. And he called one Operation Tundua Majib, which is fighting corruption. In Luganda jetuita okunyige jute. Yagenti an operation ya kunyiga mayute. Buli muntu yena ejute tugenda kulinyiga. Now to him corruption was actually that boil. Then he also came with what they called the Usafi wa Mazingira, which is a Bulungi Bwansi program of sorts. Now when Magufuli started out, because he knew that his political party, Chama cha Mapinduzi, was actually losing support. It was losing ground because of corruption. And he knew very well that their founding father, Mwalimu Kambarage Nyerere, detested corruption. And in Tanzania, it is very hard to actually just vote for a person who is very rich. They have lots of reservations with somebody who is very rich. And actually, one of the undoings of Edward Lowassa was because they looked at him as a very rich man. And then they said, rich people are not very easy to actually rule or govern countries. They looked at him that he will have more time to concentrate on maybe his empire, his businesses and stuff like that. And actually this was the politics against Edward Lowassa. His wealth, his riches, his pomp and all things, he said no. Tanzania does not have such a president. Actually, when you go to the home of Jakaya Kikwete, you notice, I'm actually told, the only small flat that is in the area is his, and just because maybe he's been former president or something like that. So they don't so much believe in bourgeoisie to actually lead and be at the helm.
Contrary to what we have here.
Exactly. So that's how Magufuli comes on. So when Magufuli comes,
that was something
yes, Magufuli started on
Nyerere instituted in them.
Exactly. So Magufuli becomes, and you see, Magufuli on the other part also, Magufuli was a very good choice of Mama Nyerere, because even Mama Nyerere, in consultation, said, no, I think Magufuli is that kind of person who shall actually manage to take.
And of course, there, when you talk about Mama Nyerere jargon, another thing you must know is that Magufuli being a staunch man into his faith. And of course, you know, Mama Nyerere also, religion also has an element in Tanzanian politics. So most when it comes to the Nyerere family as well. So if you can combine both the blessings of Mama Nyerere and also the religious aspect of it, then you're good to go and a suitable candidate in that side there.
Exactly. And so that's how Dr. Magufuli comes. So when Dr. Magufuli came on, Dr. Magufuli knew the problems that had embedded in the Chama cha Mapinduzi party. And so he had to first of all bring back the confidence into Tanzanians that yes, our party is still here and we do not have to lose power because of anything. So he comes to push for services to the Mwananchi, to the people, and just right there. And of course, all the things. So that's how Magufuli comes on. So the world has known Magufuli for just only 5 years, his term in office, and that's how he's been. It's absurd. And of course, we can't ask God questions why he had to take Magufuli now. We just miss what Magufuli would have done until 2025.
You just reminded me of that hashtag that has been trending, and actually after I took office became very vital. What would Magufuli have done? That whenever there was anything in any country, even outside the African continent, what would Magufuli have done? Mostly in issues of corruption, because they believed he was a no-nonsense. I remember Professor Patrice Lumumba was giving a lecture somewhere
at the Dar es Salaam University,
and he brought a term, Magufulification.
Exactly. He said Africa needs to be Magufulified.
Magufulified.
So in other words, Magufuli had become a concept. Yes, for
Talk
Africa.
about no-nonsense people when it comes to corruption, seeing systems work. That was Magufuli. But very unfortunate that good people usually don't live longer. They live a spell of time and God takes them when they are still worth living and worth lives celebrated. So that is what happened to John Pombe Magufuli. Well, away from that bit of Magufuli, now let's look at Tanzania after the demise of John Pombe Magufuli. Remember, we are seeing the 14 days of mourning. But also, Jaga, I see clarification. The Tanzanian constitution, when a head of state passes on, is it 21 days or 14 days? I was saying something 21 but why 14 days? This is supposed to be 21 days.
No, but you see, I have read the constitution and I've not put a lot of attention on how many days of mourning. But you see, I am a believer. I am a believer and a Bible scholar at that. In the Bible, when you read Deuteronomy chapter number 34, you notice that a very vanguard leader called Moses, who led the children of Israel into liberation and into moving from the land of slavery into on their way to promised land. You know, he gets somewhere, and the Bible is very clear that he dies. Now when he died, God buried him. Actually, nobody knows where Moses was buried, according to scriptures. But the scriptures say that the children of Israel mourned for 30 days until God had to come to them and tell them the time for mourning is over. You now need to carry on. They had to get convinced that even after 30 days, they had mourned for Moses. All their lives, everything about them, every future, everything about them was actually hinged to Moses, until they had to contend and to accept that, yes, Moses is dead. Now, whether it's 21 days or 3 days or 14 days, now the people of Tanzania have to get to a point to actually accept that, yes, our very good leader, a man that we all loved, a man that we cherished, a man that we looked at, a man who has actually delivered us into this middle income status, is gone. So whether mourning for 21 days or